Hi, it's Leslie Meredith with Breakbulk Events and Media, and I'm here at Breakbulk Europe with Marcus Lomax from Smart Freight Center, who has done quite a bit with Breakbulk in the past around sustainability and emission supporting. He's been extremely helpful to the industry, so we're so excited to be able to catch up with him today. How are you?
Perfect. Doing well. Thank you. And happy to be here. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah. So give us an update on Smart Freight Center and where you are with, your overall operations and where Breakbulk fits in.
Sure. So, Smart Freight Center, as a nonprofit NGO, is still spearheading a lot of the work when it comes to helping the industry to drive decarbonization by identifying potential levers to do so. A lot of the work that I do is about helping the industry globally, so the multimodal industry, to basically go about standardizing the way in which it calculates and reports its emissions. And so a lot of the work that Smart Freight Center does is mode focused. So we're looking at maritime, we're looking at air, but we also have a geographical focus whereby we're looking at geographies outside of Europe and North America, such as Africa, Asia, and even Latin America at some point. So we recognize that there is a global vocation for decarbonizing, a global vocation for standardizing emission reporting, and Smart Freight Center is intended to be very much a part of that and to act as a rallying point for this sector. And so we typically work a lot with shippers, logistics service providers, and carriers. And I also have a special relationship with the Breakbulk community, and that's why I'm here today.
Well, that is fantastic. So I know you've done some workshops with at Breakbulk events, putting this together with, I believe, Steven Spoljaric from Bechtel, right? And others, certainly. And you had a big milestone last year. Tell us about that.
Exactly. So last year rather, we published a guidance on how to calculate and report breakbulk emissions, right? So previously, there was a lot of focus on other maritime sectors and maybe not the attention that breakbulk deserved. And the whole idea of creating this publication is to put breakbulk on the map, right? And so this was a culmination of a lot of work in different iterations with a working group on how to create a methodology. So Smart Freight Center didn't want to create a methodology separate from the industry. We wanted to create one very close to the industry. And so that's why we had a diversity of actors, so shippers, LSPs, and carriers. And I'm very grateful for the help that SPO did in terms of maintaining that working group. So that really facilitated my work as well. And so
yeah, that's so great because I think it's a little bit challenging working within Project Cargo and Breakbulk shipments because they're not standardized. It's not a standardized container or a car equivalent unit. Is that right? Is that right?
You nailed it.
Okay. So that had to take, some special consideration too. And I think that's been part of the problem that we haven't gotten as far perhaps on reporting with this kind of shipping as others because it's more challenging. It's so varied. There's so many variables.
And you're exactly right. So breakbulk has its own specificities that weren't reflected when we're talking about carbon accounting and maritime generally. So the whole idea of the working group and the guidance was to recognize that and also to derive a way in which we can fairly allocate emissions between the diversity of different cargo that is being transported. And luckily, what resonated with the people within the working group is that we actually basically adopted a value that everybody recognized and that actually works for carbon accounting. And so what was great was to create a guidance that they would recognize and were happy to take forward. And what we're trying to do now is go beyond the publication of the guidance and actually create a community out of this. Yeah.
Excellent. So, do you hope to get that community off the ground here at Europe?
So I've always enjoyed attending Breakbulk, and previously the focus has been on taking the technical work when it comes to the guidance forward. And I think a lot of that work has been done. And now what we're trying to do is to garner support from the already existing working group to create a community, to basically create a home within Smart Freight Center for Breakbulk.
Ah, okay.
And Smart Freight Center, I believe, is a natural home for the Breakbulk community because we already have the experience of being custodians of these kind of communities. So we already have one for containerized maritime transport. We already have one for Ro-Ro. And I think that now the next step would be to welcome Breakbulk within that, but also to recognize the specificities of Breakbulk.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you look around this exhibition, what do interested people need to do? What action might they take to help move this project forward?
So they need to express interest in this community.
Okay.
And potentially affiliate with Smart Freight Center.
Okay.
Because we believe that decarbonizing is not a solo mission. We need everyone to be involved. So the more, the merrier. So if you just want to come to us and talk about carbon accounting or sustainable logistics, please feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to take the conversation forward.
Well, fantastic. Thank you so much, Marcus, for joining us and giving us an update. And we just want to do everything we can to help move the industry forward and Smart Freight Center.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for this conversation, Leslie.